I'm joined this afternoon by Jens Wolter, international arbiter for the last 10 years and currently the tournament arbiter, the chief arbiter of the Munich Women's Grand Prix. Jens, it's the last day today. It's been a tough 2 weeks, but we're getting to the end, and I've waited for the last day to do a small interview with you and ask you a few questions about your role here as main arbiter. My first question is, please explain briefly, what are your main functions here as a chief international arbiter? What does the job entail?
Hello, Michael. Thank you very much for the questions. Of course, you are a chief arbiter, that you have to act according to the regulations, that the laws of chess are strictly followed. But of course, that's not the only one that you have to do as a chief arbiter. A lot of preparation has to be done. I was appointed only 2 weeks before the tournaments, so we had to make the pairings. And then when arriving here in the tournament hall, it's very small. There were very little tables. They were only 80 centimeters squared. So we had to adjust them, get bigger tables, and finally find a room arrangement that works well. And of course, you have to supervise a tournament and assure that everything runs well and the players feel comfortable.
From the outside, I've seen that it's running perfectly well. One anecdote I saw, and I wanted to ask you about, this special chair for Tan Zhongzi. I noticed that everyone had a special, a nice, very nice, comfortable swivel chair, but Tan Zhongzi chose a different, more simple chair. Could you tell us what happened there? How did this come to pass?
Yeah, I think the other chairs were just a bit too big for her, so she chose a smaller one so she could sit better at the tables.
It didn't have to do with the wheels, maybe?
I don't think so.
Okay. My second question, of course, this is a very important event, a top elite event in women's chess. So we have the deputy arbiter Tanya. She's in charge of fair play situation. Tell us briefly about the fair play measures that the arbiters take for this type of event, please.
Tanya is performing the fair play officer part, and she has a handheld scanner, so every player gets checked before the start of the round. Even the bags they are bringing, they are checked, so that there are no forbidden devices there. And after the start of the round, the toilets are checked completely, and also from time to time, of course, so that we are sure that the players don't have any information gathering from the toilets or from any other players.
Can you confirm that during this tournament everything has gone according to regulations?
Yes, I think so.
Fantastic. I can also attest to that. Finally, apart from the anecdote of the chair, are there any other interesting anecdotes or any special situation that has been produced in the tournament which you would care to talk about?
Yes, and it just arose during this very last round. As you might know, there are laws of chess, and you would expect the players to know the laws of chess properly. But if it comes to threefold repetition, there are always some difficulties. Okay. And we have 2 games now that finished with a threefold before the 30th move.
Yes.
And there are 2 ways. Either way, you have the position always on the board, and it's already there. Yes. Then you can claim immediately. Or you produce it by your own move. Then you write it down.
You write it down, yes.
Yeah. And in these 2 games, they wrote down the moves, but it was already there. Okay. So I just cancelled out the move they wrote down.
So the normal protocol is when you want to claim the threefold repetition in your move, you write down the move, and then you call the arbiter and indicate the move you want. It's the only situation where you can write down the move before it's being played, is correct, no?
This is correct, yes. Okay. But in these cases, you didn't have to write down the moves as the position was already there.
Of course, in these cases, as the draw is clear and both players more or less are agreeing, it's not a problem. But in other situations, this could be important because I've seen many players do the 3rd move, then claim the draw, and that is not correct. Is correct this?
Yes, of course. You have to have the move to claim.
If you make your move, then it's the other player's turn, and it's he can decide or not to do the repetition.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So thanks for coming, Jens. Sorry about the delay today. These things happen. But it's been a pleasure to meet you here in the tournament and listen to your opinion on the rules and regulations.
Thank you very much, Michael.